What's up everyone, Keith here from MPTennis. Hope you guys are doing awesome today. Today we have a racket review for you guys, something we haven't done in a couple of months because we took a break from doing racket reviews and reviews in general, but we are back today with a legendary racket, and that racket is the Head Prestige Pro Auxetic Edition. So I'm very excited to talk about this one with you guys today. Before we get into the racket review, we are on our way to 10,000 subs. That is the goal. So if you guys like the Matchpoint Tennis content, please like and subscribe. It helps us a lot, and you guys won't miss a video. So like and subscribe. But to the racket review, I was so excited to get my hands on this racket. I've never hit with a Prestige. I've hit with a lot of Head rackets and a lot of other brands, across the board through the last, 5-ish years when demoing rackets and stuff, but I never was able to get my hands on a Prestige. So I was very pumped, I must say. So just looking at this racket, this paint job, initially when I looked at it like in photos and stuff, I was kind of like, I don't know, it seems a little dull. I thought it looked dull, the paint job. However, having it in hand, this is like amazing. It feels so nice in the hands. I love looking at this racket. So it kind of went from like dull to like stealth, if you know what I mean. This racket looks so stealthy. That's kind of my word for it. And it plays stealthy too. So we'll get into what I mean by that. But it's nice. I mean, it feels good in the hands. I love on Prestiges how they have the grommet that goes all the way around. I think that's a cool touch. I know it's a pain to put in because I've heard it's a pain to put in, but that's another story. But yes, racket cosmetic looks good. It looks so good with grip too. I mean, come on, it looks so nice. I strung this up with Head Power 17 gauge 54-52, my tension, to get a good feel. So what did I think? If we start from the back on forehands, I thought it was solid. I mean, I knew what to expect going into this review because I knew it was going to play different compared to my racket. I play with a Extreme Tour, heavily customized, so I didn't put any weight on this, so I knew it was not going to feel like my racket. So, of course, I knew it was going to feel very control-oriented, and surprisingly, it actually did feel pretty heavy, which was nice. But to the forehand and to the point, I felt like it was solid. On pickups, it was very nice, swung nice through the air. However, for me, since I'm coming from more of a spin racket, it felt like I really needed to use my body, which is no surprise from, Prestige lines. These rackets are not going to give you much. So if you're somebody out there that is looking at a Prestige and you're like a beginner, this is not your racket at all. I know some people are going to say like, oh, learn to hit with a Prestige, it'll teach you everything. I disagree with that. I think it will make you hate tennis actually. So find a racket that maybe has a little bit more power. But even for me, I felt like it was difficult at times to generate the power and the spin just because I'm not used to it. But don't get me wrong, when I hit it well, it felt so good. I just found myself dumping it in the net from time to time because, it doesn't have that much power. So the launch angle was also a little bit low. It sounds like I'm really picking it apart right now, but it's not a bad racket at all. It's just that that's something that I'm used to getting kind of for free with my Extreme Tour, but I was not with this. But overall, like flattening it out, this racket's a beauty. On the run, if you can get it in the middle of the strings, it's a beauty. And if you use your body well, if you use your body very well, then you're not going to have a problem, but you need to have some good technique and you need to be able to use your body, all of it, to get everything out of this racket, and then it will be amazing. But for me, on the forehand a little bit, I kind of struggled with getting the height over the net that I'm used to, and the power I was lacking a little bit. However, it was not terrible. It was still fun to hit on my forehand for sure. If we move to backhand, same kind of thing. I actually thought it was easier to generate height and spin with my backhand, which is actually weird because normally with people that have two-handed backhands, it's normally they play flatter on the backhand side, which I do. and I felt it funny that I was actually able to get more height and depth and spin and maybe even power on the backhand side. But solid on the backhand, not too many knocks. I just felt like it's hard to get the sweet spot sometimes on that side as well. Just, you can kind of feel the off-center hit, so you need to be able to label it every time in the middle of the strings. And that's why this racket is kind of for more of the advanced plus player. So if you're like a college player or pro player, even like, or somebody that plays with like continental grip and like wants to go out and feel like Andy Murray and the guys that use like pro stock Prestiges and stuff. But yeah, I mean, backhand, solid, not too many knocks. If we go to the slice though, okay, now this racket is like God tier. The slice on this racket, guys, is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I just wanted to hit slices all day. I remember when I hit the first slice with this racket, I was like gushing over it. Like I couldn't believe how much feel was in the racket. And I mean, that's what these rackets are for. They're feel and control. So it's no surprise, but slices anywhere, low slices, like chip slices, when they were like shoulder width, or not shoulder width, up by your shoulder or like weight height, they all felt good. And I didn't have a problem with depth. They were going where I wanted. Slices with this racket are a beauty, 100%. At net, didn't surprise me at all. This racket is amazing, nice on volleys. The only mini thing that I would just have to maybe get used to up at net was I felt that my volleys might have been landing a tiny bit shorter than they were with my Extreme Tour, and that's just because, once again, this frame doesn't offer as much power and as much give as maybe some other rackets, so I would have to get used to that. But this was going exactly where I was wanting to go. On touch volleys and like drop volleys, so good. Touch shots with this racket like are so good. Overheads, fine. Just the same thing, not as much power as you might get out of another racket. So if I'm gonna smack an overhead with this versus smacking it with a pure arrow, the pure arrow is just gonna be harder. And sometimes that's nice to have that little extra put away power. However, you're getting so much control out of this and you know where it's gonna go every time. So I can't really knock it on that. Yeah, overheads are solid. If we back up to start, serving and returning, if we start with serving, yeah, I mean, it's solid, man. I mean, it's going where you want it to go. I think the story of this racket is just, it's going where you want it to go, but not with a ton of power compared to other rackets. I was able to hit all the spins, kicks, flats, slights, serves, and have no issues, really. At times it felt a tiny bit heavy going overhead, but I think it was just because I'm not used to it. So, I mean, yeah, serving, no issues whatsoever. Other than that, felt a little heavy going overhead once in a while. But yeah, I was able to do everything I wanted with my serve. There was no limitations. And then my other favorite part about this racket was returning. And normally I dock rackets on the return, but this one was so solid on return. Like backhand, like bunt returns, like, oh, wow. It was so solid. It felt like a laser coming off the racket. I felt like Djokovic out there, like it was ridiculous. And that goes for forehands and backhands. It was just amazing. Like, I don't even need to explain it. It just felt so good. You could feel the racket, like when it hit the strings, you could feel it like go into your hands, and like I don't even know what to say. It just felt so good. I don't know how to explain it. It's one of the best. No, it's not. It's probably the best racket I've ever play tested on returns. However, I do really love my racket on return, but this one had a good feeling. So serve and return were big pluses for me. So will I switch to this racket? No. The only thing that's missing for me is there needs to be a little bit more spin potential out of this racket, and on my forehand, I struggled a bit to get the extra zip on the ball and also the height and the depth like I kind of talked about earlier. And that comes from the launch angle of the racket, I think. But if I was somebody that played a little bit flatter through the court, I would probably switch to this racket. And if you're able to handle this kind of racket, you got good technique, you're strong. That's another thing that's important about these frames. You need to be strong to use these because they're not easy to play around with. That's why I don't suggest juniors playing with these rackets. But yeah, if you can handle it, you got good technique, and you play with a flatter ball, and you want some control, this is gonna be your racket. And I think you'll love it, and you can kind of customize it a bit if you'd like. And it looks friggin' sexy. I mean, look at this. Look at that. So nice. Anyway, that is gonna be it for today's review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely a fun play test. So go get out there and try Prestige, because I think you guys will, whether you switch to it or not, it's just a good experience to try it out and see what it feels like. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. You